But we're back, and we are now going to move on to the next segment. Fight preview, Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. I was about to say this is going to be short, but I say that all the time, and often it isn't very short. But a couple of things we're going to do here. One is establish that it is our job to go further. Now, to do that, we may explore some things that are crazy. We did that with trying to make sense of how a mixed martial arts fighter could possibly beat the best boxer in the world, and we explored many bizarre things in search of something of value, whether that being disproving an idea or that being exploring something in a new perspective that would be valuable for us in the future. That's what we do. It's not for everybody. If it's not for even if it's not for you, you might find it amusing or you might find one thing in there. But in this case, where do we start? So I've got actually a couple of questions that I carried over from our earlier segment, Ask Robin Black. The first one, and so let's just throw these out here, and then let's discuss the first layered talking points. Now, why do we do that? Because we know what they are, right? Go on Twitter, and go in a group or any discussion area and go in a group of people who like fighting and watch it and consume it on, a basic to a upper mid level, and you'll see these conversations. And what we want to do is figure out how we can go deeper, because these conversations are often ultra limiting. And no matter how far we back ourselves into a corner, no, he can take him down, or no, he'll knock him out with his left hand. We might argue that point for the next 8 weeks. Unless we go in and try to find something of depth. Those things that we explore may or may not be of value, but at least they'll take us off just sitting and arguing. Khabib's going to wreck him from taking him down and beating the shit out of him, or Conor's going to knock him out when he tries to come in. Or Khabib has his chin up, or Ally Quinta hit him coming in and Michael Johnson hit him in, or Conor can't wrestle. I mean, if we just want to argue with that and you find some type of enjoyment, I'm not sure that you do. You might think you do, but if you do find some enjoyment in just arguing with people, sticking with your side and then arguing with somebody for the other, have at it. But this gives me great tension, and and I don't like it, because I just don't think all we can do when we do that, and once we put something in the sand, is just start throwing out things that support us and finding voices that, Shab said this and Joe said that, and but Ariel in the interview with this guy said this, and just trying to point these things at our already existing belief. Or, well, you see what he did with Mendez, yeah, but did you see what he did with like these? We can do that over and over for the next 8 weeks, but I don't want to do that. I want to try to find something else. But we're going to get 2 quick questions, and you're going to see these questions happen. Now, also, if you do look back at any of these ones where there are cut and dry talking points, once a new one gets introduced, people start parroting that one. Angles. Oh, man, there'll be different angles, or, anyways, there's a million of them. But at Thomas D. Farley, will we see the Celtic Cross demolish the Russian in 1? I think McGregor stops him in 1 or 2. Khabib will find it hard getting in safely with McGregor fighting long from range. And then another one at D. Alvarez77_DN. What do you think Conor has to do to nullify Khabib's takedowns? And do you think Khabib can survive Conor's excellent boxing and take him down? Okay. Now, couple things. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate you. We're 8 weeks out, I think. So these are a good starting point, because we're all talking about this. I'm working on a seminar right now, and for my friend Crew Jeff in Ottawa, and one of the very first places we are starting is Maurice Smith versus Mark Coleman. UFC 14. UFC 14. Go on Fight Pass, pull up Maurice Smith versus Mark Coleman, UFC 14. What year is that, Mark? Mark's going to check it out. UFC 14. We just did UFC 227. Why am I bringing this up? Well, one, it is a similar dynamic. Things have changed.
That was in 97.
1997. So that is 21 years ago. Some things have changed, Maurice Smith is Conor McGregor. He's a hard-hitting, striker or puncher or kicker or kickboxer or whatever. And the other guy is a dominant, physically strong wrestler. And my issue is, go watch that. And if we're just going to have the same conversation, and we are right now, we're having the same fucking conversation. Winner gets a title shot. Like we're having in this case, the winner is the champion. Because Tony got, anyways, that's a whole other thing. Are we just going to do this in 20 years from now? Same thing? Can he stop the takedowns and can he take the shots and take him down? Can he close the distance and get him down? Or can he keep him down? Is his wrestling and his boxing? It's the same fucking thing. My issue isn't that, it's a variation on the same thing. My issue is that there is so much more. We're 20 years smarter. We're 213 UFC pay-per-views and whatever, 300, like how many Fox and 180? Like
150, 180.
Yeah, so call it 180. So it's two. So we got 400 cards. So we got 4,000 fights. We're still fucking saying the same thing. And we're giving a shit about that argument.
We were watching that thing earlier. The keys to victory is the exact same thing
victory
that we see.
Was the fucking exact same thing. Or attributes. He's really strong, good wrestling, crazy power.
20 plus years.
Yeah, 20 fucking years. Go watch it. Go fucking watch it. We've been programmed. We've been trapped. We're slaves to the formula. We have to fucking break the formula. When you do it, it's not easy. People will mock you. People will say, why don't you just say fucking striker versus grappler, Steve? But look for it. What's happening? And what else is at play? What's happening in the dynamic of their mind? By the way, and you're going to see this quoted, and you're going to see this example. Don't worry. It'll pop up on all kinds of other places now after we've brought it up. UFC 14, Mark Coleman versus Maurice Smith. Don't worry, you'll hear it on podcasts. It'll be brought up. Nobody's going to say, oh, by the way, Robin Black mentioned this, but that is still part of the fun, is bringing out something, letting it percolate around, and letting it be examined, and letting it be an example, and then come out. But it's the same fucking conversation, presented the same exact way. Is there anything else at play? Incidentally, Coleman was undefeated at the time. Of course, there is a million other things. How the fuck can we be here 21 years later and presenting it exactly the same way with a board up that's saying this guy's a good wrestler? Like, we have fucking let this audience down. And UFC, I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to myself. I'm also talking to anybody who does jobs like I do, or anybody that does jobs has podcasts or does analysis. All of us. We have fucking let these people down if we are having the same exact fucking conversation 21 years later. And we are. Bored guy, great wrestler, really powerful, ground and pound, something. And then the other one, fast hands, moves his feet well, knocks out everybody, Celtic cross, range management, distance management. I did the breakdown on Conor McGregor probably 2014. The first one, I'd done some of him before, but kind of a big one. And in fact, the three things that I said were his game at the time were distance management, which wasn't a buzzword at the time. It wasn't a normal discussion the way that, all the things we talk about are now. It was out there, I'm sure. Like, I didn't invent it, but it wasn't a fixated, part of the conversation at the time. And then the flim flam, which was, so we'd keep the range, and then we'd mystify him a little, play with him, whether that was for psychological reasons or to make him guess or to make him hesitate, and then the Celtic cross. That's 4 years ago. It's my job to fucking find some other shit to talk about. Some other things. They got to be real, or they got to be potentially real. Then we either got to prove them or disprove them, or we got to bring them up. We got to look at them. And this little conversation right here is my pledge to you to do that. And some of it you will think is stupid, because that's how these things are done. One nugget will come out. One little nugget will come out of I did 6 or 8 hours of trying, because when McGregor and Mayweather were fighting, people said, he can't win. Why not? Well, he's a boxer. He's the best boxer in the world, and he's not a boxer. And that doesn't matter. That doesn't have to matter if you change the way you look at it. And they'd say, yeah, but this is boxing. And I'd say, well, there is no such thing as boxing. It's just a collection of beliefs based on training and practice and trial and error, and building on knowledge on knowledge on knowledge. And if you look back somewhere and we were incorrect in any knowledge, well, there's a little hole with which to find a seam to go and do it. Now, the fact that guy lost and was defeated in the 9th round doesn't mean it's still not possible. That night, it did not happen. But is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Now, that took me down all kinds of fucking crazy places, what were those navigators, Polynesian navigators, and how and why they were able to see certain things that we no longer understand, knowledge that we've forgotten. It's wild. Some people stayed in for the 6, 8, 10 hours and then were like, see, you're an idiot, which I think is besides the point. I am an idiot. And so are you. And so is everybody, based on what we will know in 20 years. And that's the point. That's the ultimate point. We should know more now. We should have more to say. We should have fucking learned something in 20 years. We should look back at UFC 14, and we should think those people are idiots, but we don't. We just do the same thing. We failed. We have fucking failed. We fucking failed bad. We have let down the art, the sport, the audience, the fighters. We fucking did. We fucking failed at that. We should look 20 years into the future and think, that was a valuable tidbit that now led to the things we know. Not now, not this stuff. So we have to go take risks, at the risk of looking stupid, at the risk of being wrong. Being wrong's good, by the way. Being wrong is very good, very valuable. Teaches you a different way, lets you see different options, points you on a different path. It's valuable. It's useful. The only way you will grow is explore things and try them and see where they'll get you, be wrong, and then learn from that. Or be right and build on that. And then later, you'll look back and that thing you were right on with new information, now it's wrong. Right? This is what we do. And this is what we're going to have to do here. We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to find some new language. We're going to have to find some new ideas. We're going to have to find some new things, because I'm embarrassed. I'm fucking embarrassed for a lot of us. I'm embarrassed for the UFC. I'm embarrassed for every single one of us. I'm embarrassed for every one of our fans. I'm embarrassed for myself. I'm embarrassed for my friends. I'm embarrassed for everyone who works in this sport. When I watch UFC 14 and I watch fucking Maurice Smith against Mark Coleman, and I see the way it's discussed, and I see how little we've grown since then, classifying the same shit. See a striker or a grappler. Who's got better wrestling? How's his takedown defense? Come on. What the fuck? We failed. We have failed miserably. And I'm not going to fix that. I'm as big a part of it as anybody. It's all of us. I'm as big a part of it. I deserve massive amounts of this failure when I look at that. And I'm just going to do my little part and hope to present some other thoughts, some other ideas, starting next week. The way that I did, mock it as much as you want to, but the way that I did when we tried to figure out, is it possible for a guy who's never professionally boxed or did it once upon a time to beat the best boxer in the world? Yes, it is possible. Didn't do it, but it's possible. Because if we say no, it isn't, well, then we're done. If we say yes, it is, we'll keep looking. And you know what's possible? It's possible to fucking find something else here. It's possible. And it isn't all compartmentalized, larger, bigger dissectings of what we already know. It isn't more categories. It isn't. That's our failure. When you watch baseball, the people who love baseball, more stats, more stats, more stats, more stats, more stats. Because at the time, stats was how they looked at things. And it shaped actually how they even played baseball and how people acquired teams and built teams and put together lineups and made strategies. It was a stats-based world because that's how people started consuming it, and so it just grew. This one's a categories-based world. Somebody will land a left hand and they'll go, oh, amazing timing, unbelievable precision. He had fantastic footwork. The head movement was unreal. His range management was tactical. And we'll just add more categories. I ain't doing it either. It's not fucking doing it either. Just can't add more. I think it's overly complicated bunch of mumbo jumbo for people that either are fully in the know or they're not. What we want to do is simplify it. I want to simplify it. It's not going to be easy, but I will take the challenge. At the risk of looking like a complete fucking idiot, mostly only to people who don't know anything about fighting. Because what you do when you go down this road is you go to depths that people are like, what are you, crazy? It's power versus chin. Everybody knows that. It's wrestling versus boxing. Everybody knows that. This guy's an idiot. I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to take those shots. I'm willing to take that liver shot and that kick to the groin because I feel this is important. When I look back at UFC 14, I am fucking embarrassed of what we're doing 21 years later, all of us. I am embarrassed. How the fuck we learned so little and innovated so little is deeply embarrassing to me as somebody who takes pride in this job. So we will take that on, head on, and we will enjoy it, and we will take whatever comes with it because it's worth doing.